Testing, testing. You look wonderful out there. Testing. Woo! Okay, I got my cue. Everybody, welcome, welcome. Come on in. Woo! You look great. To look around the United States today is enough to make prophets and angels weep. This is not the land of the free. It's only sporadically the home of the brave. James Baldwin. I have Ray cue the post. Ray. He says, I'm going as fast as I can. We're not on YouTube yet. Oh, we're not? We're streaming. Okay, must just be me. Okay. So, here we go. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning to both you in the sanctuary and those watching us online. My name is Terry Cross. I'm serving as a worship associate for today's lay-led service. I can't believe they let us do this. No? So I thank you for joining us this winter morning. I'm thrilled to see familiar faces in a different place, and I'm so glad you all came. And it is such a worthy service to come to it, whenever we have Delma in the pulpit. Yep. Yes. Yes. The type of guy gets a standing ovation before he walks in the room. Fine praise indeed. So, we are the ones we've been waiting for. Yes, yes, and that's the final stanza in June Jordan, African-American poet's poem for South American women. This poem commemorates the 1956 Women's March in South Africa, when 40,000 women and children put their lives at risk in protest against apartheid. We honored June in this space in a tribute by her partner, artist and musician Adrian Torf, and poets and performance artists from the Lansing area, Voices of the Revolution. UU member Lisa Sarno is a member of Voices. It is time for a revolution indeed. Today marks the start of Black History Month, and one way to celebrate is by reading books by Black authors. I'd like to recommend two books. Allow Me to Retort, A Black Guy's Guide to the Constitution, and Bad Law, 10 Popular Laws That Are Ruining America, both by Ellie Mistel. Ellie is a legal analyst, justice correspondent for The Nation, and a radical pundit. Publishers Weekly states the New York Times bestseller, Allow Me to Retort, is a pugnacious and entertaining critique of our conservative interpretations of the Constitution. Personally, I like my heart-wrenching facts delivered with a touch of snark. He serves up justice right. Delma, I just gave Delma a copy of that book. So today, we welcome Delma Jackson, activist, facilitator, writer, counselor, lecturer, and friend, back to the pulpit. It's always good to see Delma. We're so glad he's here. Reverend Lynn and Jerry Kerr will be back in the pulpit with us next week. So, welcome. Again, welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Flint. We are a progressive LGBTQ+ affirming community. We aspire to work towards social justice within our community, and we invite you to join us to that cause. Our Honk for Democracy protest at the Peace Triangle goes on from 1 to 2 every Sunday. Thank you, Elizabeth. She's made our banner so people know what they're in for when they drive by. We're asking them. Honk for Democracy. And Bring your own sign, or signs will be available. You'll see them downstairs today. And the honking of horns only encourages us and others, and we hope it encourages others to vote as if their rights depend on it, because they do. If interested, more information about our faith tradition of this congregation is available at uuflint.org. You may also sign up for our weekly email newsletter by visiting our website, scanning the QR code on the order of service, or by completing the card in the seat back here in the sanctuary. And I'd like to invite visitors to attend coffee hour downstairs after the service. Bonus, we've got extra good food, and we'll be doing something different down there. We'll continue with the talk-back discussion regarding what you hear this morning about where and why we are as a nation in this moment of time. How did we go back to embracing our racist roots, our demonization of the other, the lack of empathy for human needs versus enabling those gorging on obscene wealth? So we'll be joining Delma downstairs for Truth, Racial Healing, and Transformation practitioners. Regina Laurie, yay! Woo! Woo! And Kanisha Norris, yay! If you've been active in the Flint community, you may have been lucky enough to meet these individuals who worked their wonders and had added much to the well-being of this place. Yes. They're another superstar, yeah. I've got a few announcements. First, Delma. You can't get enough Delma. He will be advertising. We have a program at Sloan, and it'll be February 12th, 5:30 to 7, race, redlining, and raising. And a lot of us lived through those historical times. I remember celebrating the anniversary celebration down at City Hall, commemorating open housing with those who fought, they both in this Flint and in this church and with my old church there at Woodside, and numerous, all the black churches fought for those rights for open housing. Our next slide, our second Sunday. There'll be food again next week, second Sunday potluck. Please join us again next Sunday. We're asking members to bring soup or food of nearly any type. We will eat anything, really. And sign-up sheets are in the foyer. Now, we're going to light our chalice. Let each dawn find us courageous, brought closer, heeding the lights before the fight is over. Amanda Gorman. And together, we'll say our covenant. Recognizing the richness of diversity, the beauty and wonder of shared worship, and the transforming power of love and service. We gather as a sacred, intentional community to freely seek knowledge and truth, to celebrate the fullness of life, and by our actions to increase goodness and justice.
People get ready, there's a train a-coming. You don't need no baggage, just get on board. All you need is faith to hear the diesel humming. You don't need no ticket, just thank the Lord. People get ready for the train to Jordan, picking up passengers coast to coast. Faith is the key, open the doors and board them. There's always room for all those love the most. There ain't no the hopeless sinner who would hurt all of mankind just to save his own. Have pity on those whose chances grow thinner, 'cause there's no hiding place against the kingdom's throne. You know there's no hiding place. So people get ready, there's a train a-coming. Don't need no baggage, just get on board. All you need is faith to hear the diesels humming. You don't need no ticket. You just thank the Lord. People get ready. People get ready now.
Woo! Woo! Thank you. Thank you, Dan. Dan Garrix. All right. Opening words. Let's see, Ray, I got a slide of Pauli Murray. Yeah, there she is. A human rights activist, Pauli Murray, human rights activist, legal scholar, author, priest, and poet who challenged racism, sexism, and homophobia. Quote, saying of the difficulty in coming to terms with a mixed ancestry in a racist culture, she said she didn't consider her experience unique. I don't believe that. Quote, you came over in chains, so how can you feel American? That's poppycock. Thousands are just like me. In fact, I probably feel more American than many whites. I just want this country to live up to its billing. Pauli also penned a book of poems, Dark Testament, writing the words, hope is a song in a weary throat. Now the choir's coming up for Emma's Revolution, and you're invited to sing anything we sing. You're invited to join in. I'll be okay. Okay, do you want me on that side?
Herding monkeys. Okay. Or cats.
Cats for sure.
Bananas.
In Montgomery and in Selma, and the streets of Birmingham, the people sent a message to the leaders of the land. We have fought and we have suffered, but we know the wrong from right. We are family, we are neighbors, we are black and we are white. Here I go, bound for freedom, may my truth take the lead. Not the preacher, not the Congress, not the millionaire, but me. I will organize for justice, I will raise my voice in song, and our children will be free to lead the world and carry on. From a cell in Pennsylvania, from an inmate on death row, Mia had the courage to expose the evil show. From the courtroom to the boardroom, in the television's glare, how the simple, we are brilliant, we are one and we are all. Here I go, bound for freedom, may my truth take the lead. Not the preacher, not the Congress, not the billionaire, but me. I will organize for justice, I will raise my voice in song, and our children will be free to lead the world and carry on. Here I go, though I'm standing on my own. I remember those before me, and I know I'm not alone. I will organize for justice, I will raise my voice in song, and our children will be free to lead the world and carry on.
One moment. Whew, after that, I need a moment of meditation. Grateful living reminds us that life is a gift and that there are infinite gifts within this gift. Its invitation is to live as if nothing is promised you. Look around you. Look inside yourself. Appreciate the ordinary as extraordinary. Notice beauty. Nourish love. Be surprised. Be in awe. Be in wonder. Recognize your privileges. Open your heart. Share your blessings. By Christy Nelson. So I now invite you, sit with your back straight, feet touching the floor. Take a deep breath. Allow yourself to experience a moment of tranquility. One more time. Breathe in love. Breathe out peace. At this time, we normally have a moment of silence followed by candle lighting, but because we have a rather ambitious service planned for today, we're going to light a single candle. And you're invited to light candles at any point during the service in the back, but this one is for you, all of us. We pray for all who are targets of violence, hatred, and terror, wherever and whoever they are. We pray for the fragile structures of U.S. democracy, that they might finally be transformed into institutions that reflect the values of justice and equality. We pray all of this so that we may act to make it happen, for prayer without action is no prayer at all. And I invite the choir to come forward.
We rise, humbly hearted, rise, won't be divided, rise,
With Spirit to guide us, in hope, in prayer, we find ourselves here. In hope, in prayer, we're right here. In hope, in prayer, we find ourselves here. In hope, in prayer, we're right here, and we rise. we find ourselves here in hope, in prayer. We're right here in hope, in prayer. We find ourselves here in hope, in prayer. We're right here and we rise up from the wreckage, rise with tears and with courage, rise, fighting for life, we rise in hope, in prayer. We find ourselves here in hope, in prayer. We're right here in hope, in prayer. We find ourselves here in hope, in prayer. We're right here and we rise, humbly hearted, rise, won't be divided, we rise, with spirit to guide us, rise.
Thank you, thank you. That only encourages us. Thank you. Okay. A reading, Martin Luther King. Power without love is reckless and abusive, and love without power is sentimental and anemic. Power at its best is love implementing the demands of justice, and justice at its best is power correcting everything that stands against love. And now, Delma Jackson.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I didn't think you remember. I want to obviously start by thanking you all for hosting myself and my colleagues from the Sankofa Project. Really quickly, I just wanted to say that for several weeks now, a couple months now, I've been working closely with Ms. Regina Lorian and Kanisha Norris in order to develop a system of both intellectual engagement, somatic intelligence, and community organizing and planning and building. I come from academia, and too often we ignore everything but the brain. We don't engage the rest, and at that point it becomes empty, right? And so I feel blessed and fortunate to be able to work with colleagues that bring something to this table that doesn't quite feel like my lane, but I can still recognize its importance. And so my hope is that by kicking off the first day of Black History Month together with them here with you, that we are starting something that will have long life and big impact.
That's our hope.
Last thing I'll say before I jump into it, shout out to my son Nas for getting up this morning and coming with me. He told me he was coming with me. I didn't believe him, but he got up and I didn't have to wake him up for nothing. I'm just messing with you, son. I love you. I love you. I come to you today in a spirit of both hope and deep frustration. I had a whole fancy slide deck ready for you, and I never do slide decks. And we couldn't figure out how to make it work. And I think that was probably for the best. We'll see what happens today. There's three major things I want to talk to you about today. So first and foremost, as always, let me do a time check. How much time do I have?
Hour and a half. Hand gets to the bottom.
I can work with that. Thank you. I think the first thing I want, and just to be clear, like, because I don't have my slide deck, everything's on my phone. I wasn't up here just like playing Duolingo or something. It's fine. The first thing I want to do is posit an invitation. I want to give you an invitation to join me in a bit of a social experiment, a bit of a linguistic social experiment. We know how much I love language and playing with language. And so it comes to me by way of, so I have a slight confession to make. Excuse me. I have been spending an inordinate amount of time on TikTok lately, like way too much. Way too much. Like I should go to bed and then it's 3 a.m. and I'm still like scrolling. But fortunately, because my algorithm is getting to know me, I am getting some decent content and actually learning some things as I go, so it's not all bad. And one of the things that has come to my attention, I'm in a professorial mode for a moment. If you have something to record notes on, write on, please feel free to grab that now, because I'm going to give you a couple names and a couple references. Don't feel like you have to, but if you're moved to, please grab that. Ashley, the Baroness, is what she goes by online. She is a longtime historian buff and headlines buff, and she does a really great job of showing the connection between the two, which is really the purpose of Sankofa, is to demonstrate that history has a tendency to come back around, especially when we don't learn from our mistakes.
That name one more time?
Ashley, the Baroness, two E's, the Baroness, young black woman that I started following a while back. And one of the things that she brought to my attention that I want to invite you into is she's asking us to shift away from using the term white supremacy and toward the term white narcissism. I like that too. Right? To shift away from the term supremacy and toward the term narcissism.
Yep.
Right? Forgive me for giving so much attention to my phone, but I would like to read directly from her, if I may. A lot of what we describe as supremacy doesn't actually look like confidence or dominance. It looks like insecurity. It looks like fragility. It looks like people losing their minds the second they are not centered. That's not supremacy. That's narcissism. And the last thing I'll share from her, narcissistic systems don't just want dominance, they want validation. They want to be admired. They want to be obeyed and never questioned. Who does that sound like? Who does that sound like? Our would-be king. I had a really nice slide. It had the fake crown on and everything. That. Several years back, several years before King was killed, he was giving a sermon and mentioned the importance of getting the language right. He asked us to look at the dictionary and look at the way in which white is so often associated with all of these positive traits, and yet when we look at the term black, how often it is associated with all of these negative traits. And he says, but tonight I want to get the language right. It's one of the few times where he speaks directly to his racial identity in such unapologetic terms. He says, yes, I'm black and I'm proud to be black. Unequivocally. People always forget that when they like to tout out the whole, not the color of your skin, but the content of your character. As though he couldn't hold two ideas at the same time. As though two things can't be true at the same time. I shouldn't have to sacrifice my racial pride in order to recognize the importance of your character regardless of your race. Something white America has yet to figure out how to do collectively. But we'll get into why in a second. Or at least my theory of why. I don't mean to say it like I figured it out. I haven't figured this out. All right. So, would you join me in trying to shift the language to the term narcissism? I appreciate it, because if I do it on my own, I got to keep explaining myself, and people are like, what are you talking about? But if enough people join me in this social experiment, we might be able to shift to more accurate language. So that's your first homework for me for today. It's your work to do. And I'm going to do it with you. I'm going to do it with you. There you go. I wanted to get that out the way. I'm frustrated because, well, let me ask a question. How many of you in this room have looked at MAGA and all of their various forms and thought to yourself, why do these folks vote against their own interests? Raise your hand if you've caught yourself in. Yeah. That was a bit of a setup. That was a gotcha moment. If you believe that MAGA is consistently voting against their own best interests, you have fallen into the liberal trap. Because the liberal side has a long history and tendency to at once recognize racialized violence while simultaneously somehow divorcing themselves from accepting the fact that the American experiment is built on white supremacy. How can this be? How could we do this? This is not who we are. Why do they vote against their own interests? These are all questions one asks themselves when they refuse to see what's been put in front of them since 1492. Never mind 1619. This is who America is. This is who America has always been. And when you ask why do they vote against their interests, you don't understand what their interests are. They know exactly what they're voting for. They know exactly who he is. Because he's the same as every other president that came before him, damn near. And after 8 years, whereas Ta-Nehisi Coates says we were in power, I think you underestimated your fellow citizens. I think you underestimated what it did to them to turn on the television every day and watch that nigger and his nigger wife and his nigger kids run in and out of that White House. You don't like my language? Well, I don't like it either, but that's what it is, and I didn't invent it. I'm frustrated today because we've been telling you this since day one and you won't listen. You act surprised when you see Renee Good gunned down. You act surprised when you see Alex Preddy gunned down. Why are you surprised? You weren't surprised when it was us. You weren't surprised when it happens on the north side of Flint. But somehow this is different. It's not different. And we've been telling you that since day one. If the state will do that to us, they will do it to you. Toni Morrison said it best. Under these circumstances, they shoot the white girl first. Because the rest, they know they can take their time. Toni Morrison said that years ago. She is both a prophet and an observer and a historian, and that's all you need to be to see the pattern. This isn't new. This is who we are. But you won't listen. So yeah, I'm frustrated. Someone had the nerve, also on TikTok, of course. White dude had the nerve to be like, with everything that's going on with ICE, I don't understand why I don't see more black folks out in the street. You can't make this up. Woo. But I'm going to come back to that in a second. Let me be clear. Let me finish up this MAGA piece real quick. They vote for Trump, not despite, but because. They watched for 8 years. You know what? I recall vividly when one of the controversies of Obama that Fox News drummed up was the fact that this man had on a tan suit. Michelle Obama showed her arms. Makes you miss the old days, don't it? When I was newsworthy. And don't get me wrong, I could pick apart his administration all day. Don't get it twisted. Don't you ever put me in the Obama fan club either. Because no matter what, no matter who sits in that seat, the seat itself is problematic. And I've yet to see a president somehow do anything other than validate, edify, build up, and sustain American interests at home and abroad. Obama was no exception. But I do miss the days where a tan suit was the controversy of the day. They vote for Trump because Obama checked all the right boxes as far as a president, right? He had the right background. He had the right education. He had the right skin tone. He had the right ability to articulate himself in ways that even moderate America could somehow connect with. And he had the ability to paint a picture of a multicultural America that could excite and inspire our better natures. Yes, we can. He knew how to use words to infuse a sense of hope and connection. They didn't vote for Trump despite the fact that he doesn't do that. They voted for him because he chooses not to. They vote for this chump because he is less than mediocre. And his mediocrity is a testament to white narcissism. I don't have to be excellent to be in charge. That's the point. That's the point. I'm in charge because of what I look like. I'm in charge because of what I'm not. Not because of who I am. It is the antithesis of the content of one's character. That's what white narcissism is. It is a rejection of everything King articulates in that speech. It says, my content matters not. They voted for Trump because he is at once a womanizer and a pedophile. Indecency and cruelty is the point. That's who we are. And if my liberal brothers and sisters cannot see that, then you are doomed to repeat the mistakes of the past. Stop pretending this country is exceptional. It's not. You got to let that go or leave me alone. Because ain't none of my ancestors bought that. And for good reason. But too many of y'all continue to. Oh, if we just adjust this, if we just do that, then we'll be back to our... You were never exceptional. You were cruel and violent, self-interested, narcissistic. Now, the founding documents invite something better. This is why we have a long tradition of BIPOC holding them up and saying, hey, what did MLK say? Be true to what you said on paper. Remember I said I am at once hopeful and frustrated? My hope rests in the paperwork. And that's a sad state. Anytime you're relying on the paperwork, you're in trouble. But I'm not quite ready to give up yet because in my heart of hearts, I am an Americanist, meaning I have this weird fascination with the dualism of this country. And I do think we can do better, but you can't get better until you recognize how messed up you are. Okay. There is this idea that, getting back to my TikToker friend, I've heard it locally. Let's be clear. It's not just this random dude on TikTok. I've heard locally. People say, where's the black community? Why aren't they showing out to these meetings in Flint? Let's be clear about something. Write this name down if you feel so moved. Carl Linnaeus. I'll give you the spelling in a second. Swedish physician and botanist, 1735, publishes, I don't know how to say it, System Naturae, System Naturae, something like that, right? In effect, categorizing, continuing the tradition of biology at its earliest form, categorization, flora, fauna, but now he's getting into human beings. And he offers us the first canonical, meaning widespread, wide read, must learn this if you're going to be in school, canonical, provides us with the first canonical categorization of the four races as he refers to them. And much like Much like my father would always say, right? If you're the dealer, there's no excuse for losing the hand. The way he describes the European, if you compare it to the way he describes the American, which is the indigenous population, the Asian, and then the African. Those are the 4 categories he comes up with. We understand immediately that he's done 2 things at once. He has created hierarchy amongst the 4 races by the way he describes the European compared to the other 3 races. But he also uses the African as the opposite end of the spectrum. Because visibly, nothing is further from the European, aesthetically speaking, right? 1735. So in 9 years, how old is it going to be? 300 years old in 9 years. Canonical. This is not some random TikToker. This is someone whose work had to be studied if you were going to get a degree. His ideas have only been further codified since then, entrenched in academia, entrenched in legal scholarship, entrenched in policy, entrenched across every major U.S. institution, from education to media, on and on and on. This idea lives with us now. Right? We understand this, right?
Yeah.
So if the African is on the opposite end of the spectrum, furthest away from white narcissism, then it is no wonder that the brunt of racialized abuse that we've captured since the 2010s, give or take, on our iPhones as they became more pervasive. How many times have we watched Black Death in real time? But it wasn't until this month that America watched White Death in real time. And you feel something shift. And then you ask me why I'm not showing up. The caucasity of that. Where were you? Because I remember, I'm old enough to remember LA, 92. I just knew them cops was going to jail. And instead, LA burned. Where were you then? I'm going to continue to be intersectional in my approach. I'm going to continue to organize on behalf of all peoples, regardless of their background. I am committed to that, but don't you dare ask anybody else in my community. Nary another thing, as my grandmother would say. Until you show up. Until you start organizing amongst yourselves and having conversations about white narcissism without me needing to organize it. That part. I've been doing this work for a long time, and it is amazing how often I am invited into predominantly white spaces so that they can talk amongst themselves. As though my presence doesn't change the tenor of the conversation. Stop doing that. I love that you show up where I'm at. That's great, but don't get the civil rights movement twisted, okay? I have higher aspirations than peeing next to you. And if that bothers you, don't care. I want my liberation, not your comfort. But I want you to want your own. There is not a population that I'm aware of on this planet that has not bought into anti-blackness. On the planet. I don't know a single place on the earth where darker is better, more beautiful, more coveted. Western hegemony has spread this message well. So I'm going to organize with everybody, but I'm also going to ask everybody to organize amongst their own communities and talk about this anti-blackness that prevents us from moving forward. Before you ask us to show up on your behalf, show up on your own and show up on mine. Let me see that this relationship is working both ways, and then talk to me. From February to February, have that conversation. I don't mind starting something in Black History Month, but if it ends on the 28th, don't call me again. You got the wrong one. You have work to do. Even in all white communities, you have racialized work to do. You more than most. Stop waiting on somebody else to throw an event or somebody else to invite you to something. Or stop waiting on some protest to show up to. Great that you're there, love you for it. But if you're not having these conversations amongst yourselves, what's the point? Oh, you just like making signs and showing up and feeling good about yourself? Is that what we doing? Is this performative for you? Because I'm dying. While you performing. I will continue to show up for all. Please, please, please meet me halfway. That's my only ask. I'm lying. Actually, I have a homework assignment. Second to last ask.
Penultimate ask.
Give me a second. I want you to commit to figuring this out amongst your population, whatever that population might be. And I'm also talking to men, too. To my male identifying folking. I'm talking to you, too. We got to be able to walk and chew gum at the same time, y'all. And we got some stuff we need to deal with. Because that's the other half of why this clown is wearing the crown now. The patriarchy is real. And it's killing us. We got to talk. So that's my own homework. I'm not asking you to do anything I'm not willing to do myself. Your folks are from. Talk to your folks. Okay? I am frustrated, but I am also hopeful. I am asking you to lean into this work. I am asking you to take care of yourselves while you do so. Look out for black women. Who live at the intersection of both patriarchy and white narcissism. And carry everybody in the process. Nobody has pushed this country closer to being what it said on paper than our black women. Period. As always, thank you for having me. I appreciate y'all deeply, and I look forward to talking to some of you downstairs after service.
Thank you, Delma. You know, I heard this morning on the news, I heard a Latino woman say, on the U.S. southern borders, black and brown people have always been experiencing the level of violences that is now being brought to our cities. In fact, I read it on Facebook, so it must be true. It was a Border Patrol trick to feint that you were afraid of being hit by a vehicle, giving you license to shoot and kill. And they've been doing that on the border with no notice to us. And yep, and they've brought it home now to the rest of us. So, thank you. So glad you're here. Now, moment of generosity. Okay, this is from Reverend Natalie Feinmore, UU minister from Shelter Rock, Manhasset, New York. Quote, all that we give to one another matters. It's only by living with a spirit of generosity that all this community can live into its vision of being just and joyful. When we give of ourselves to others, we take part in the larger love found in the interconnected community. We need to acknowledge we need one another, that each of us will have a moment to give, and each of us will have a time to receive. I'm grateful for the spirit of generosity in this place. Last evening when my car was stuck in the ice when we came down here to set up downstairs, did I call my husband to help? No, I called Ray Rust. And I even knew he was out enjoying an evening at Queen's Provisions. Thanks, Ray. He drove right out of it like it was nothing. So anyway, but your gifts make you, but everyone here, your gifts of your time, talent, monies demonstrate your beliefs in the vital values and messages that we are able to share here. Your gift makes you part of something bigger, larger, together. It strengthens our faith community. It's easy to give by placing an offering. There's a basket in the back of the church as you leave, or by making an online gift at uuflint.org, or using the QR code on the back of your order of service. And now, by popular demand, the choir is back.
Sing about it in a righteous song. If you want to say to raise your voice up high.
There's more. Closing words. I got this from the Reverend Jen Crow, Senior Minister, First Universalist Church of Minneapolis, from her weekly message. This is from an excerpt from Sam James, they, them, a civil rights lawyer, policy advocate, and writer focusing on the LGBTQ plus issues. They're also a lifelong UU. This is an excerpt from I Heard Them Whispering to Me. Listen, we cannot predicate fighting or winning. We're going to lose a lot in the days to come. And if we're going to make it through the nights, we need to find something to fuel us that runs deeper than hope. We're past hope. We don't fight because we think we're going to win. We fight because it's how we hold on to what makes us human. That instinct to take care of each other is the best of us. We are defined with how we love each other. If we only fight because we think we'll win, we aren't going to last as long as we're needed. We fight because we love each other too much to listen to reason. We don't follow hope. Hope follows us. And now join me as we extinguish our chalice. We extinguish this flame, not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
Harry Truman, Doris Day, Red China, Johnny Ray, South Pacific, Walter Mitchell, Joe DiMaggio, Joe McCarthy, Richard Nixon, Studebaker, Television, South Korea, North Korea, Marilyn Monroe. Rosenberg's H-bomb, Sugar Ray, Panmunjom, Rondo, the King and I, and the Catcher in the Rye. Eisenhower vaccine, England's got a new queen. Marciano, Liberace, Santayana, goodbye. We didn't start the fire. It was always burning since the world's been turning. We didn't start the fire. We didn't light it, but we tried to fight it. Joseph Stalin, Melikov, Nasser and Prokofiev, Rockefeller, Campanella, Communist Bloc, Bayrock, Wamperon, Toscanini, Dagron, Dien Bien Phu, Falls, Rock around the clock. Einstein, James Dean, England's got a new team. David Crockett, Peter Pan, Elvis Presley, Disneyland, Bardo, Budapest, Alabama, Khrushchev, Princess Grace, Peyton Place, Trouble in the Suez. We didn't start the fire. It was always burning since the world's been turning. We didn't start the fire. No, we didn't light it, but we tried to fight it. Little Rock, Pasternak, Mickey Mantle, Kerouac, Sputnik, Charles de Gaulle, California baseball, Starkweather, homicide, children of the Litomide. Buddy Holly, Ben-Hur, Space Monkey Mafia, Hula Hoops, Castro, Edsel is a no-go. Do you singing Ray, Payola and Kennedy, Chubby Checker, Psycho, Belgians in the Congo. We didn't start the fire. It was always burning since the world's been turning. We didn't start the fire. No, we didn't light it. No, we tried to fight it. Hemingway, Eichmann, Stranger in a Strange Land, Dylan, Berlin, the Bay of Pigs invasion, Lawrence of Arabia, British Beatlemania, Ole Miss, John Glenn, Liston beats Patterson, Pope Paul, Malcolm X, British politician sex, JFK blown away. What else do I have to say? We didn't start the fire. It was always burning since the world's been turning. We didn't start the fire. No, we we didn't light it, but we tried to fight it. Birth control, Ho Chi Minh, Richard Nixon, back again. Moonstock, Woodstock, Watergate, punk rock, pagan Reagan, Palestine, terror on the airline. Ayatollahs in Iran, Russia's in Afghanistan. Wheel of Fortune, Sally Ride, heavy metal, suicide, foreign debts, homeless vets, AIDS, crack, burning gets, hypodermics on the shore. China's under martial law, rock and roll, a cola wars. I can't take it anymore. We didn't start the fire. It was always burning since the world's been turning. We didn't start the fire. No, we didn't light it, but we tried to fight it. We didn't start the fire. It was always burning since the world's been turning. We didn't start the fire. No, we didn't light it, but we tried to fight it.